everyone, it's Teacher Lisa here from Learning with Lisa. Today I am sharing with you the lower level Part A walkthrough for the mock lesson. This is going to be the interactive levels 2 and 3, My Friends and I lesson number 7. So I'm going to walk through exactly how I would teach this lesson for the mock lesson. So if you've not already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that you can see the upcoming videos that I put on my channel. If this topic has resonated with you, please leave a question, a comment. Hey, if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear from you so that I can make videos that cater to you and to your needs. Before I walk through the mock lesson Part A, I just want to share a couple things about the mock lesson as a whole. So when you are preparing for the mock lesson, you're actually preparing for 2 lessons, Part A and Part B. Unfortunately, you won't know what lesson you're going to teach until you actually go in and schedule your mock. Then once you schedule your mock, you will see that you have been chosen for Part A or for Part B. So studying for both lessons will prepare you for whatever option they choose for you when you have to do your mock lesson. So when you teach your lesson, a mock lesson is going to entail 10 minutes of your time teaching the lesson. So make sure that, as I talked about in previous videos, that your pacing is on point, that you're able to pace through the lesson within 10 minutes, not the full 25 minutes. But please know, this is an awesome part about the mock lesson, is that once you get to this point, you cannot fail. You can take it as many times as you need until the mentor passes you. So please watch my video. Keep utilizing the practice room because you can take the mock lesson as many times as you need. So please don't give up, and please allow me to help you continue to study and do well for your mock lesson so that you can pass. Once you pass your mock lesson, you will be certified in 2 levels, Level 2 and Level 3. When you're doing your lesson for the mock lesson, it is in Level 2, but VIPKID is giving you Level 3 certification, so you'll have both Level 2 and Level 3 certification. So with that being said, make sure that before you start teaching your lessons that you become familiar with Level 3. So Level 3 is going to be more of an older child learning to read. Level 2, I have students that can read, but more so that will be apparent in Level 3. Also, the student will be able to speak more fluently, so making sure that you have those extension questions ready to go. So just make sure that before you start teaching your major course classes with your kids that you become familiar with Level 3 along with Level 2. As we prepare for this mock lesson in Level 2, there are some expectations that we need to make sure we are practicing and make sure that we have this in the mock lesson when you go to complete the lesson with your mentor. So you need to make sure you're using TPR. You need to make sure that you're showing repetition. You need to ensure that your corrections are being made. The corrections are being made by the student. So making sure that you're telling them the correction and then they're repeating it back to you. Making sure that you're modeling the phonics skills and the correct phonics sound. Again, I've mentioned this in my previous video on tips of teaching in the VIPKID classroom, and a lot of these kids are learning the sounds incorrectly in their classroom. So making sure that you're making that correction phonetically. And lastly, that you're providing extensions and you're modeling. So modeling those components of a lesson. I do, we do, and you do. So all of these expectations are important when you're teaching your mock lesson as well as when you begin teaching your own student. So make sure that you're utilizing the practice room in the VIPKID platform, because this is going to allow you to see what exactly you're doing in the classroom as well as making sure that you have each of the components of a lesson before you begin. Also, please know that the practice room is available as soon as you schedule your mock lesson. So please take advantage of that because that's super, super important. When we are going through this mock lesson, please make sure that you have your mock lesson, either Part A, the Part A lesson. If you've been chosen for that one, the Part A lesson, make sure you have that up so that you can see what I'm doing and then make the connection to the slide. One more thing I want to mention is that I cannot show the slides on this video because they're copyrighted, so I do not have access or the ability to do that. So I have the slides in front of me that I'm going to be referencing to as we go through this lesson, and I hope that you have taken the time, pause the video, to pull that up for you as well. So as we begin prepping for our lesson today, a couple of things that we need to think about is what are the objectives? What does the student need to be able to do by the end of a lesson? So a couple objectives that they need to be able to do is the student needs to be able to talk about the toys that they like, and they need to be able to do that in complete sentences. Also, they need to be able to use words with a short I sound. So the short I sound is going to make the eh. So making sure that they can do that on their own by the end of the lesson. And foremost, I should say, lastly, they should be able to use complete sentences. So you are going to coach them through the I do, we do, you do process, and by the end of that you do slide, they're going to be able to answer in their own sentences. Of course, if they can't do that, you will still guide them and we'll keep practicing, and the more lessons that they have down the road, the more that they'll be able to do that on their own. So the vocabulary word that we are going to just share in this lesson is ball, and the verb is to throw. So those are the words that we're going to focus on in today's lesson. Also, there'll be some other props as well, kite, that you will want to familiarize with yourself when you're reviewing this lesson. Lastly, make sure that you have your props ready to go. I have my props in front of me. So I have my kite, I have my verb to throw, I have my doll, I have a soccer ball. So make sure that you have that. Also, make sure that you have some characters. So I know a lot of VIPKID teachers have actual dolls, like Meg and Mike dolls. I do not. I just use these character cards and these work great. So you can use them individually as well as together. So make sure that you pause this video, get all your props together so that as we're walking through this, you can be doing the motions with me, and that will help you get that in your brain so when you go to teach your lesson and you go to use the practice room, you will remember back to what we were doing in this lesson. Okay, so the first slide that we are going to start with is the title slide. So this is the very first slide that you will see when you're teaching your mock lesson. So the title slide is all about kind of getting to know the student. So you're going to read what the title is, and then they can repeat back to you. Then what you're going to do is you're going to ask the students some basic questions. So just kind of getting to know them and then encouraging them to answer in complete sentences. So as my students become more fluent with the English language or they get into a higher level, I will ask more difficult questions. And if the student is shy, and I've mentioned this in my previous video, please don't hesitate to use a puppet. Allow them to see that you are talking to the puppet, and then they can respond in their own sentences. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the two basic questions that I ask when I am starting a lesson, especially in a more beginner lesson. Hello! How are you? I am happy. Yes! What is your name? I am Sam. Yes! My name is Teacher Lisa. Hello. Then I will ask the student, how old are you? I am 5. Very good. And then if you find that the student does not answer your question, in fact, they just repeat your question, then this is when you would get out your puppet and say, what is your name? My name is Pig. What is your name? I am Sam. Good job! Yay! So you will see that you can get the student to answer in complete sentences just knowing kind of what their language abilities are. If they're not able to answer that in complete sentences, then get out the puppet. Show them exactly what they need to do with this puppet, and this is a great way to get them engaged and get them to answer in their own sentence. The next slide is the reward slide. So you will see on your slide for your math lesson, you will see it'll say My Toys at the top, and then it will also have some different toys that they can drag and drop into the shopping cart. So this is a great time to not only introduce your reward, but also to introduce a drag and drop feature. So you're going to model that for your students. So I would say, My toys. Yes. Drag and drop. Drag and drop. Yes. Very good. Nice job. So I'm making sure that they can do the drag and drop feature and keep modeling that so that they can see you doing that and they can practice as well. Next, we are going to make sure that we have our reward. So we're going to share that with our student. So as I mentioned in previous video, make sure to have that displayed back here so that the student can see it at all times. For my mock lesson, I'm going to use this C with the beach, and I have 5 mermaids that I am going to take off, and I'm going to add those mermaids as they do a good job. Most mentors, a lot of mentors like to have this secondary reward. So you have your stars that you're going to give to the student as well as the secondary reward. So I would make sure that you have that available and that you use that in your lesson. Also, I would make sure, like I said, that you have it visible so that they can see that as they are going through the slides with you. Personally, in my own classes with my students, I use Google Slides. And I love that, and it works great. But I've also used props that I have bought at the store as well as just props that I make. So it's a great variety, and it kind of keeps the students engaged, especially if they become your regulars. So with this reward, I'm going to show you how I would use this. When you do a good job, you get a mermaid. And then I would show them how I'm going to add that to my backdrop. And a lot of times, the students actually get excited about this, especially if they're younger kids. Now, I'm going to pretend that my student is a girl, but if my student was a boy, I have a male version of this with dinosaurs. So this is in the grassy area. I would add a dinosaur every time they do a good job. Other thing that you can do with your rewards, so you can obviously at the end of your lesson you could count each of the rewards. So in this case I could count my mermaids. I can also ask some color questions. If I've reviewed my student and I know what they're able to do, which you will have the opportunity to do that before your mock lesson as well. So make sure that you take that time to review what the student is already able to do, and you will most likely see that they can identify a lot of colors. So I could say, what color is her hair? Her hair is orange. Okay, so those are some extending questions that you could ask at the end of your lesson once you have all your mermaids on the C board. So the next slide is my introduce slide. So as we talked about, the I do, we do, you do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce a vocabulary word. So for this slide, it's ball. So we're going to introduce the word ball. As I've stated in my previous video, you're going to teach the word twice. And then we're going to use this word in a sentence, and we're going to teach it once. So making sure that we're getting that student by the end of that slide to repeat the full sentence, to do that on their own. Also, make sure, and I shared this in my previous video, that you're using TPR. That's really important. So showing them, you're cupping the ear, listen, or you're pointing to your mouth, ball. Okay, so make sure that you practice that TPR in the practice room in front of a mirror. Another great thing would be to record yourself so you can see what you're doing and that if your words are matching to your TPR educational and instructional strategies. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and model how I would teach this particular slide. Ball. Ball. Great job. Circle. Ball. Yes! So know that most students have like a touch screen, so they can definitely use their finger to circle the ball. So make sure that you're modeling that. If the student's not understanding it, you could also get out your whiteboard and you could put it on the whiteboard and then circle the ball on the whiteboard so they could see exactly what they need to do. Now I'm going to introduce my sentence with the word ball, and I'm going to repeat that once. She plays with a ball. Good. If a student is not able to repeat that full sentence, that might be challenging for them, you could break it up. She plays, yes, with a ball. Yes, very good. High five. Yes, you get a reward. You get a mermaid. Ooh. Great job, Sam. Okay, so the next slide, hopefully you'll be able to see that. You have that up in front of you. Is what does he play with and what does she play with? So we're going to be getting them to use this vocabulary word ball to answer in sentences. This is going to be the we do phase, so we're going to kind of coach them through it. Also, make sure that you're using your TPR, which I shared in the last slide. You're going to cup your ear so that they know that they need to repeat that to you. And then also you're going to point to your mouth so they know what word that they need to repeat. So VIPKID provides teaching tips in the slides, so you'll be able to see that as you're going through this mock lesson, and you can definitely use those, but you're not subjected to those only. Those are there to guide you and just making sure that you are meeting that objective for what is for that slide. So just keep that in mind. You can definitely add in more strategies, but just make sure that you're meeting that objective for the lesson. Okay, so we're going to ask them the question and then we're going to assist them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and model that for you. Circle boy. Yes, good job. Circle ball. Good. What does the boy play with? The boy plays with a ball. Good job! Very good. Circle girl. Circle ball. Yes. What does she play with? She plays with a ball. Good job! Very good. You get a mermaid. Woohoo! Yes, good job! A mermaid. Very good. So it's very important to always review what the student is able to do so that when you go into your lesson, you have that mindset of, okay, I know the student can answer and complete sentences, or I know the student is not going to be able to answer most of these sentences on their own, and you're already prepared to provide that assistance as needed. Also, making sure that when you are providing that assistance and you're correcting them, that you're using it in a corrective manner, and that it's not just like, you did not do that right. Just making sure that they feel good about repeating the sentence again over and over as needed. So the next slide is the apply slide. So this is going to be the slide where I'm going to get the student to answer, what does he play with? So on the slide, you will see 3 boys, and 2 of them will have 2 different balls, and the other one will have a kite. So getting them to drag and drop, as well as getting them to answer the question, what does he play with? Okay, so this is the apply slide. So this is going to be where they're going to do this on their own. Of course, if you need to assist them as well, you can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and model what that looks like. So what I would do is I would circle the first boy and the ball on the screen, and then I would ask, what does he play with? He plays with a ball. Yes! You got it! Awesome job! Then I would circle the second boy with the ball. And you will see that this is a basketball. So I would do the same thing. I would ask, what does he play with? He plays with a ball. Great job! So if they say soccer ball, basketball, that is fine. Just getting them to make sure that they identify that this is a ball. Okay, then I would circle on the screen. So again, I mentioned this in my previous video. Make sure that you're always circling or just kind of manipulating the screen at all times, every screen. So I'm going to circle the third boy and the kite. And this time I'm going to ask the student, what does he play with? He plays with a kite. Very good, nice job. And if a student's not able to answer this on their own, then you can help them, guide them to this answer. Kite. Kite. Yeah. He plays with a kite. Yes! Super job! High five! Woohoo! Very good. And then you could say, you get a reward! Nice job! Mermaid! We should have 3 on there. There was only 2. So you can definitely do a reward. Every slide, the recommendation is every other slide. So just making sure that you're getting at least 5 in for your mock lesson and you're showing that to the student, because that's going to keep them going and kind of keep them in the rhythm of doing a good job and getting that reward, striving to get that reward every time. So now we are going to introduce the second vocabulary word. The second vocabulary word is to throw. So I'm going to introduce that, and then I'm going to use that word in 2 sentences. So make sure that you don't just run to the 2 sentences right away on the bottom of the screen. In this case, the slide is she throws and they throw. So make sure that you're going right to those sentences. You're teaching the vocabulary word first. They need that practice. They need to hear that word twice before you're going to the sentences, because this is a new word and it's a new verb. Also, I'm going to take the time. A lot of kids are able to identify the correct form of the verb, but I'm going to make sure that I review the pronouns with the verb before I continue as well. So I'm going to model this and walk you through exactly how I would teach this slide. Throw. Throw. Yes, good job. Throws. Throws. Yes, good job. So now I'm going to use my chart, and now that I have introduced throw and throws, I'm going to use my chart to add this to the chart. He throws. She throws. It throws. And now I'm going to bring it down here, and I'm going to use they. They throw. Yes! Great job! Awesome! So then I would introduce the sentences. So I'm going to say, she throws. She throws. And if you, for some reason, didn't do the motions like I just did, you can definitely repeat the sentence again. That's okay. Then the next one would be, they throw. and making sure that you are using your props. So if you have your characters or your character cards like mine, they throw. Yes! And then I would have done the same thing with she. I would also show that she throws. So make sure that you're looking for the S on the end of the verb. And if they're not saying it, make sure that you take that time to correct them as well. And then I would say, awesome job! You get a star! And I can show them a star, or I can just click the button at the top and add the star as well. So make sure that you're adding those stars and you're using your reward as well. So one thing that was super important that I did not actually do on this slide, and I want to make sure that I pointed out to you, is the on-screen modeling. So make sure that every slide that you are teaching, that you are underlining the sentence. You are circling the sentence. You're underlining and circling the word. You're showing them exactly what you want them to do. So you're never leaving that question, that child with the question in their mind of what on earth does this teacher want me to do? Okay, so making sure that you're having the instructional TPR, so it's showing them what you want them to do, and then you're actually modeling what you want them to do. So that's drawing, underlining, using different colors to highlight, circling a word, whatever it is, but make sure that you are always doing that on the screen. They want to see that screen modeling, okay? And every mentor is going to be looking for that, and VIPKID as a whole is looking for you to do that. So just make sure that you make that a priority, that you include that instructional TPR and the on-screen modeling every time. So now that we have introduced the second vocabulary word, we're going to use that to practice in a sentence. So now we are doing the practice portion of a lesson, which is the we do. So the question is going to be, is who throws? So on the screen, you should see in front of you, you're going to see a football player holding a football ball, about to throw it. You're going to see a boy with a soccer ball kicking it, and you're going to see another boy holding a basketball on his head. So what you're going to do is you are going to get them to circle the football player throwing the ball. So you're going to ask the question, who throws? Circle. Who throws? So then I want them to circle the football player. Yes! He throws! And then if they can't answer that, or let's say that they circle the soccer ball with the boy with the soccer ball, then you would go, he throws? No. Or they circle the boy with the ball on his head. He throws? No. He throws. Yes! High five! Great job! Okay, so obviously this is practice. They might not get it right away, so you're coaching them, you're working with them, trying to get them to, instead of just give them the answer, you're holding up the incorrect answers and you're trying to get them to think, is this correct? No. And then getting them to see that this means throw. Okay, so again, we need to make sure that the output is there, that they are responding. We are not doing it for them. This would be a great opportunity to include those extension sentences. So you could say, what does he throw? He throws a football. Football. Yes. Okay, and they might know it, they might not. So, you could just encourage that and see if they can answer that in a sentence. If they can't, then you could start with football. Yes, football. If the student is very fluent and able to do these tasks very easily, instead of saying, I throws, you could just ask the question, who throws? But just make sure that you have circled which one you want the student to answer, because there's the he, the she, as well as the I. So make sure that you're circling that and then using that question for all three. Who throws? Circle, drag, and drop. And then they're able to know exactly where to drag that and which sentence that you're talking about. So now I would throw in another reward. Great job! You did awesome! High five! And then I would tell them, you get a mermaid! So now we move into the phonics portion of this lesson. So we are going to be blending words to make 3-letter words. In this case, we're going to be blending using the ip ending sound. So depending on what you like to use to show this to the student, because you're going to want to show them and you're also going to want to model on screen, I like to use my whiteboard. So it's up to you and what you like to use. I know some teachers like to use magnetic letters and they can manipulate them. You could use phonics cards, you know, whatever you're comfortable with, but just make sure you find something and you kind of stick to that type of strategy when using phonics. So make sure you decide what you want to use, and then what you're going to do is you're going to put the ending, so you're going to isolate that sound. So you're not going to put the beginning sound quite yet. You're just going to show them what that sound looks like on their own. And then you're going to show them how you would blend it. Also, when blending, there's different tricks that you can use too. So I know some teachers do clapping. So if I'm going to use b, ip, bip, or some teachers will do like to make a heart. So b, ip, bip. Another one using your arm. B, ip, bip. And then you're blending that together. So those are some different options to do. You'll see your students doing them and they'll be using them and they'll choose which one they like to. They're definitely more comfortable with certain ones over the other. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. This next slide is basically just going to be blending 4 beginning sound with the ending sound here, ip. So, ip. Good job. Then I'm going to go on the slide and I'm going to circle ip. Yes! Very good. Now I'm going to underline on the slide as well as on my board. So the first letter that I'm going to do is zip. Z, ip. Zip. Yes! Very good. Nice job. So to make sure that we're getting that on-screen modeling, make sure that you're using your board and you're modeling on the screen, whether you're underlining, circling, drawing a line, making that connection that what you want that student to do in that moment, okay? So make sure you're using both every time. So again, ip, rip. Yes! Make sure that you're saying your R correctly. It's not ruh, it's rrr. You could do in the back of your throat and kind of get that out. Rrr, not ruh. Okay, so make sure that you're saying that sound correctly every time, because the students will repeat you and then they won't be able to break that. So the next sound that we're going to do is S. S, ip. Sip. Good job. Very good. And if a student is more advanced, you could do sip, have them repeat it, and then do sip. Or you could do sip. Sip. Yes, you got it. The last beginning sound we're going to use is ip. Hip. Yay! Great job! You get a star! And then I would give them the star on the screen. Okay, so making sure that we're giving them a star and we're using our rewards. So the last slide before our goodbye slide is the free talk slide. So this is their last opportunity to get the students talking. Your last opportunity to get the students talking and to use the sentence frames that they've learned in this lesson. So be sure to ask these students these questions that you have taught them throughout the lesson so then they can have the opportunity to practice and to answer on their own. Of course, if you don't have time before the lesson ends, that you can skip this slide, but I generally always make sure that I, touch on this just a little bit, enough to just ask one question that kind of recaps everything that we've done in our lesson. And also, if you have time, extra time, this is a great slide to get those extending questions going and really have that conversation with the student. So for example, this extending slide is going to be, what do you see? So you see kids playing with the basketball and you see a kid throwing a basketball. So that's a great opportunity to ask questions, extension questions like, what do you play? Do you play basketball? Do you play with your friends? Who do you play with? And kind of just having that ongoing conversation. That is definitely going to be for the more advanced student. So if this was just a on-level student or a beginner student, I would ask, what do you see? Good! Nice job! What do you do with a ball? Good job! So as you can see, I'm getting them to say, I see a ball and I throw a ball. And again, like I said before, if they're more advanced, then you can have that conversation of, do they play basketball? And get those connections that this is a basketball and not just a ball. Okay? Great job! You get a mermaid! So I'm really bringing this up that we have all of our mermaids on our chart. Then this would be a great opportunity to use my reward and also provide another extension question. So I could say, how many mermaids do you see? I see. Yes, good job. So if they can't answer, I see 5 mermaids, then you can have them count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 mermaids. I see 5 mermaids. Great job! Very good. So this is a great way to provide those extension questions, especially if you weren't able to do it in the other slides. You can use your rewards to ask them those questions and give them the opportunity to expand on what they've learned. Another thing this slide is great for is identifying the correct verb for to throw using your pronouns. So you could circle the boy and say, who throws? And then you could get out your cards or your characters. He throws. Those are some other ways to, if you have extra time, to bring in those extension questions and to review the correct forms of each verb. Also, one thing I want to share is that I know it's happened with me, and I'm sure it's happened with many other teachers, is that the mentor might cut you off at a certain point. In fact, it might cut you off at this slide or even before, depending on the time and how things are going. So don't be alarmed or surprised by that. If they do cut you off, it's okay. They just want to offer you their feedback, suggestions, or as well as praise you for a good job that you're doing. So if that does happen, you are not the only one. I promise. It's happened to me, and it very well could happen to you. So just know that, and know that if they cut you off, that doesn't mean that you failed by any means. It could just mean that they want to take that time to have that one-on-one conversation with you about how you did. Lastly, we come upon our goodbye slide. So this is going to be where you're going to sing the song with the child. A lot of your students might be able to sing the song, or you can sing it for them. But this is just an opportunity for you to sing it with them, say your goodbyes. It's definitely not going to take a whole minute, but just, let them know that I was happy to see you. You did a great job. great job on your reward. That could be a time when you could do that as well. So just make sure that you're really showing that excitement and that you truly enjoy teaching and learning with them and that you want to see them again. So for example, for this slide, I would sing the song with them and then I would say, "Great job today, Sam. I hope to see you again soon. Bye." And then, or you can say, "I hope to see you next time." And just, whatever's comfortable for you, but just making sure that you're showing that excitement and that you want to see them again. So now that I have shared with you how to teach the slides, let's recap a little bit of some important tips that I shared with you throughout this lesson. So the first thing is to make sure that you're always modeling. Use that TPR. Use your props often. Use that on-screen modeling. Make sure your students always know what they need to do. Don't ever leave them with the, "I'm clueless, I have no idea what this teacher is talking about." Always make sure that they know what to expect and they can look at the screen and use that point to know exactly where to go and what the teacher wants them to do. The next thing is the verbal praise, saying, "Good job, high five, awesome," whatever it is that you want to use it. I use verbal praise after every slide because I want my students to know that they are on the right track, that they're meeting the objective and that they're doing a good job. Also, make sure that you are using your stars along with your secondary reward. So you're giving them the stars and you're using the secondary reward. The mentors that are teaching or that you are doing the mock class with, they're going to want to see that and they're going to want to see it visible. So make sure that you're using those as well. Please don't memorize these lessons. Don't memorize the lessons so that you can pass the mock lesson on the first time. Do this, practice it, use the practice room, use me, allow me to help you. We can do Zoom calls and I can coach you through this and we can work together on, what is the best way to teach that slide, what's the best way to model this, you name it, we can do it together. So please just don't memorize the slides because it's only going to hurt you when you go to teach your first few lessons of your class. You're going to be so focused on those particular lessons for your mock lesson that you're not able to put the strategies into a new class. So just do not memorize it. Do not just be so focused on what the content is, but more so what the teaching strategies are, so then you can apply those to any class, any slide at any time. So I would absolutely love to help you prepare for your mock lesson. I would be honored to be able to coach you and walk you through that. This is just an exciting opportunity for you to become a better teacher, and by teaching these mock lessons and preparing for them, you're only preparing yourself for your future classes and your future students. So I would be honored if you would use my link to apply to VIPKID, and of course I will help you every step of the way and even after you begin your first class. So please make sure to use my referral link if you choose to decide to become an ESL teacher. Also, you can email me at learningwithlisa20@gmail.com with any questions that you have. I would love to help you get those questions answered. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and you'll see all the upcoming videos that I have coming up. I will be doing the part B for the lower level mock lessons coming up, so be sure to check that out. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, go learn something new. Bye!